Thank you for tuning in to the Into the Classroom series produced by Mental Health California, sponsored by Blue Shield of California's Blue Sky Initiative.
Welcome to Into the Classroom, which is a student mental health awareness multimedia series produced by Mental Health California. I'm your host, Conrad Crump, affectionately known as Coach Crump, and today's topic, young people and positive mental momentum. We're going to be talking about strengthening mental health to advance wellness. Now, maintaining positive mental momentum is critical for the well-being and success of high school and college students. Strengthening mental health, staying positive, and advancing wellness require a holistic approach that encompasses physical, emotional, and social well-being. Schools, colleges, and families all play vital roles in supporting our young people's positive mental health, and today we'll discuss all of these factors. I'd like to thank you, our audience, for joining us as we promote self-care and strength-based solutions that young people can immediately employ for their own well-being. Firstly, I'd like to introduce our clinician for today, my friend, Mr. Christian Jacobs. Now, Christian is a licensed marriage and family therapist and a leading Brother Be Well clinical advisor. Christian is a noted therapist who also has expertise in substance use prevention, and his depth of knowledge continues to benefit youth and their families throughout California to this day. Also pleased to introduce our youth guests who are here with us today. Today we have with us Monica Tamayo from the University of California at Los Angeles. How you doing, Monica?
I'm doing well and happy to be here.
Good. We also have with us Keyshawn Williams, who is a recent graduate of Sacramento State University. What's up, Keyshawn?
How you doing, Coach? Good to see you.
I'm doing good. Good to see you too, man. And last but certainly not least, we have with us Joel Suazo from Los Angeles City College. What's up, Joel?
What's up, Coach Crump? It's good to be here.
Wonderful. Now, at this time, I'd like to kick it over to Christian Jacobs, our licensed clinician, so he can provide us with a brief overview, maybe some clinical insights into positive mental momentum and how that can actually help students propel themselves forward each and every day. Christian?
Yeah, I think I have a few things for y'all today. I think I like to really start just by um, the acknowledgement part of positive momentum. I think the best thing to kind of explain is where it starts from. And if you kind of see positive momentum, just kind of think of, your makeup, and like where you come from, your cultural background, some of the motivators in your life. That's where, your main positive momentum comes from, So I just want to start there, before you think, how do how do we, develop positive momentum? Think about what are some of the things that have motivated you in the past and some of the things you've gotten through. We go as early as elementary school all the way up through college. What are some of the things you've achieved and overcame? What are some of the barriers that you kind of broke through and some of the odds that you beat? And some of the tools I'm going to be talking about is how to use those same tools that you use maybe in eighth grade, ninth grade, making the basketball team, or getting a perfect score on a test, or maybe 10th, 11th grade, scoring high in terms of a paper, and going back and using those same tools and those momentum things and bringing them forward to the present time and using those. So that's some of the key things we'll talk about today is how do you use some of your past wins and some of your past successes and bring them to the current time versus saying, oh, that was a long time ago. No, we can use some of those skills that you use to the current time, to some of the challenges you're experiencing today.
Wow, thanks a lot for that insight, Christian. That was really good, man. I never thought about thinking about my own history, my own family's history, my own people, where they've come from, what they've overcome to begin that positive mental, momentum. I really appreciate that. That's really very, very insightful. So thanks again. Now I'd like to kind of kick it over to our young folks. So we'll start off just by a show of hands. Who here prioritizes their positive mental momentum in their lives? All right, I see everyone's hand going up. That's good. And judging by that show of hands, it's clear that they're already ahead of the game. So let's go ahead and delve into our slide presentation to continue this conversation. So when we talk about the importance of positive mental momentum, as Christian said, it's important to have that thought of bringing those things that you were doing positively and bringing them to the forefront and keeping that momentum going, right? Just referring to the ability to maintain a positive mindset and a positive outlook despite whatever challenges that we might be facing. This also plays a critical role into the overall well-being and success of high school and college students as well. Let's go ahead and go to our next slide. Now, looking at some statistics here, we want to talk about this because strengthening mental health is important. And we know that strengthening mental health is certainly needed to maintain that positive mental momentum. So according to the National Institute of Mental Health, they've reported that every year, about 20% of youth experience a mental health problem. And half of mental health problems are established by the age of 14. Additionally, about 75% of mental health problems are established by the age of 24. So this is certainly something that impacts a lot of our young folks today. Now let's go ahead and go to our next slide. Now, when we talk about wellness encompasses a lot of different things, right? Resilience, coping skills, building a support network. All of these things can help to strengthen our mental health. Additionally, engaging in activities that promote mental well-being, such as exercise, practicing mindfulness or meditation, and even maintaining a balanced diet, all of these things can impact our mental health and our mental wellness in a positive way. So let me ask some of our participants here. Monica, what are some of the ways in which you really focus on your wellness and your health just to build that positive mental momentum?
Yeah, some of the ways that I build a positive mental momentum is by, going outside for a walk, making sure that I spend some time in the sun, making sure I'm not always indoors because that tends to make me sad, even though I'd have like no reason to be sad. So just going outside, it makes me happy. I might go to the beach, read a book there, making sure I'm staying hydrated and eating a balanced diet. And then, maybe even reading a book from time to time.
Wonderful. Thanks for that, Monica. And let's kick it over to you, Joel. What are some of the ways that you build that momentum, that positive mental momentum?
One of the things that I like to do is definitely have a routine. I feel like at times if we don't have a routine or a certain type of structure or discipline, we tend to fall off and do, things that are not benefiting to us. So, waking up in the morning, just the basic things, waking up early in the morning at a set time, going to bed at a set time, planning your schedule accordingly, knowing what you have to do for the day or the week or the month, and overall just planning ahead of time. I feel like it saves the stress and the anxiety for myself.
Oh, that's real. Having a plan for the day is certainly helpful and can just get you on the right track. All right, Keyshawn, how about you? What are some of the things you do to build that positive mental momentum?
Well, for me, kind of what Joel talked about is staying with the routine and staying consistent. You think of momentum, I kind of think of it as like a big snowball rolling down a hill. As you pick up more momentum and as you pick up your habits it gets easier and easier, and the snowball gets heavier and faster. So it's just staying consistent. And I'd like to say that even though I raised my hand for having positive mental momentum, I this has been a recent thing. Okay, you have to stay on it, and it only gets easier the further that you go with it. And before, I used to struggle with my mental momentum by I might have a good 3 months, I might have a good 6 months, and then I take a step back and I have another bad 3 months. And it's kind of like you take one step forward and you take two steps back, and you find yourself in the same place that you were despite having a good 3 months. And so now it's just about staying consistent, keeping your routines together, waking up at the same time, going to bed at the same time, working out, going for walks, taking care of yourself.
No, that's really good, Keyshawn. You touched on a couple of different things, man. So, I appreciate your, your candor and just like opening up and sharing with us. That's really good. So thank all of you for that. Let's go ahead and keep it moving as we talk about our next slide, getting moving, right? So research has shown that physical activity can reduce the symptoms of depression. It's very important to make sure that we have the ability to get out and get moving if we can. It's important for our bodies to get that physical exercise, even if it's just going for a regular walk around the corner. Additionally, having that professional help, whether it be therapy, counseling, peer support, all of these are ways that can provide valuable support and guidance in terms of managing our mental health challenges. Let's go ahead and move on to our next slide. So staying positive, right? Now, on the surface, it sounds like, oh yeah, just stay positive. But sometimes it's difficult to do, especially in the face of challenges, right? So if we have the ability to practice the mindfulness, that awareness, knowing that even in the midst of challenges that we might be going through, we have the ability to reframe some of the negative thoughts. We have the ability to focus on the good, focus on those positive things, whether it be our strengths, our previous achievements, what have you. Research has shown that by positive thinking, it can truly improve mental health outcomes and increase resilience for young folks, whether it be by practicing gratitude, engaging in activities that bring you joy, or just surrounding yourself around people or positive influences. All these can contribute to a positive mindset. And I want to talk to you, Christian, and just ask you, maybe if you can elaborate on some of this here about just the aspect of staying positive.
Yeah, so by looking at the slide that's showing, I think the main part is like kind of what you said is everything's not going to be perfect, right? So we know we're going to run into challenges. We know we're going to have, adversity. We're going to run into things that are hard. The important part is what resource do you fall on when you hit those challenges, right? So one thing that could happen, you could fall on negativity. Oh, here we go again, or I'm not going to be able to do this, or it's too hard, or other people are better than me. So the battle of comparison, right? So you have those things. So kind of like what I was saying before is it's about the mindset part. It's about understanding first of all the negative thought pattern that you may have, and then doing some thought stopping techniques. And thought stopping techniques is exactly what that sounds like. Being able to catch yourself when you're going down that line of doubt, and it happens in your head, right? It happens so fast. So as soon as you start feeling like this test is too hard for me, or this career I'm not good enough or smart enough, that's when you're able to stop and use self talk patterns as well. So saying, I am able to do this. It sounds very simple, but that's how the brain operates. I can do this. You're talking to yourself. The words, I say this all the time, right? Your brain doesn't know the difference between, whether you're saying negative or positive things. It just records it and takes it in. So the words go out of your mouth and back into your ears. I'm a great person. I'm beautiful. I'm smart. I'm good. That information goes out of your mouth and back into your ears. I'm dumb. I'm stupid. I'm not smart. I can't do this. I'm not fast enough. That information goes out of your mouth and back into your ears. So whether it's positive or negative, you want to feed your brain good things so you can stop those negative patterns and use those thought stopping techniques.
Oh, that's very good. Very good, Christian. And I totally agree. I often am around young folks a lot, and sometimes they'll just be jokingly saying things that are self-deprecating, saying things that are negative about themselves. And I have to tell them, like, hey, I know you're just joking, but it's not healthy to, talk to yourself about, yourself that way. Your brain doesn't know the difference. And then I, kind of share with them words of affirmation, talking to yourself, saying positive words, saying those different things that, although it may sound silly in the moment, but your brain, definitely feeds off of that. So the more you're telling yourself those positive things, the more you will be in a space of wellness and a space of just positive mental momentum. So let's go ahead and move on to our next slide. So advancing wellness. Now, advancing wellness can require a holistic approach that encompasses physical, emotional, and social well-being. It involves setting goals, pursuing passions, and nurturing healthy relationships. And when we implement stress management techniques and promote a healthy work-life balance, we can also see that these things can contribute to positive mental momentum as well. Let's go ahead and go on to our next slide. So looking at wellness activities. Now, a couple of you guys talked about this a little bit earlier, about your practices. The research has shown that it's true, right? Having a sense of purpose and engaging in certain activities can definitely enhance your overall well-being and your life satisfaction. Taking the time for yourself to just self-reflect, identify your own personal values, and align actions with some of those values can actually contribute to a sense of fulfillment and advancement in wellness. So just something to keep in mind. Let's go ahead and move on to our next slide. Now, it is no secret that young people will inevitably face various setbacks that can impact their mental well-being. This can be academic stress, social pressures, family pressures, even personal challenges, but even still, through positive mental momentum, young folks can rise above those setbacks by developing resilience, by seeking support from friends or family or even professionals, and maintaining that positive mindset that we talked about. Young people can certainly overcome obstacles and continue the path moving forward. Now let's go on to our next slide. Now, when it comes to the role of colleges, schools and colleges can certainly provide resources such as counseling, mental health awareness programs, and peer support groups. Schools that prioritize mental health and create a supportive environment actually have shown to have higher student engagement and higher academic success rates. So I'm kind of curious because we've got folks from the CSU here, we've got folks from the UC here, and we've got folks from the community college system. I'm curious to know what positive resources and healthy support looks like on your campus. Let's start with you, Joel. Can you talk to us about what resources might exist at your school, and maybe even thinking about what role the colleges might play in helping out young folks?
Yeah, so for colleges, I think they play a vital role in, students' mental health, whether they provide services with academics, providing services for mental health, physical well-being. At my school, particularly, I am a former foster youth. I was in the foster care system, so they have those dedicated programs for foster youth that can get extra assistance with schoolwork. If they need tutors, they can access tutors also. There's also, um, they're given certain, if you pass all your classes, they are given like an unmet need grant, which can also help people like myself who are former foster youth. Some people don't have, that financial stability, so that definitely helps. And nevertheless, they have therapists on site that are willing to work with the students there and also provide services to them if they are having a difficult time in school, difficult time at home. And yeah.
Yeah, no, thanks for that, Joel. Very informative, and I appreciate you opening up and sharing your own experience and talking to us about what's going on at your school. How about you, Keyshawn? What's happening over at Sac State?
For Sac State, there is programs. There's like peer counseling. There's therapists that you can see on campus, and all of that is amazing. And there's a bunch of resources that if you're feeling any type of way, you can go talk to people. I've even recommended it in class to people who seem like they're having a tough time. Um, I would say with in particular with positive mental momentum, I would say to bring it up to your counselor and to bring it up to your peers and to talk about it more, because I know for me sometimes people want to fix things right away. So if you're feeling poor and you have one therapy appointment and you're not better at the end of that therapy appointment, you could feel discouraged. But if we are more cognizant of positive mental momentum, I feel like it'll help us know that it's a process and it's supposed to take a little while and you're not supposed to feel better overnight, and you have to stick with something and it'll get easier the more that you do it.
Very good. Very good suggestions. And, I appreciate that feedback, Keyshawn. That's good stuff. All right. Now, Monica, how about you? Give us a little insight into some resources at UCLA and the ways that maybe schools can help their students.
Yeah, so here we have something called CAPS, which is the Counseling and Psychological Services. And it's so that, peers can get counseling for anxiety, depression, disordered eating. There's gender affirming care. There's support for the LGBTQ plus community, mental health care. We also have something, it's called the Rice Center, which also focuses on like the mental health of students. And then these services are not just for the students attending the campus, but also their family and their friends, because the way they see it, it's a community. It's not just about the students there. They want to like do the outreach, so it's offered to anybody that knows about it.
Wow, that seems like a wonderful resource to have. Thank you, Monica, for sharing what's going on at UCLA as well. So as we talk about this, let's go a little further in the conversation, because we talked about schools and the roles of schools, but there's also family, right? Now, family plays a crucial role for students. It's clear that a few ways to show support can include open communication, emotional support, and even the validation of feelings within the family can actually create a safe space for young people to express themselves. Encouraging self-care, modeling healthy coping strategies, and prioritizing well-being as a family can contribute to positive mental momentum. And we know that there are actually some studies that have been shown that strong family relationships and supportive home environments can actually protect against mental health problems and promote resilience amongst our young folks. So let's go ahead and move on to our next slide and talk about self-care. Now, when it comes to self-care and mental health awareness, young folks should certainly prioritize self-care activities that can promote relaxation, rejuvenation, and stress reduction. Now, this can include activities such as practicing mindfulness, engaging in hobbies, spending time in nature, learning to say no, which I think goes into the aspect of having clear boundaries, and also taking breaks when needed. So I want to pivot to Christian. Christian, can you talk to us about the importance of self-care for our young folks?
I think everyone has kind of touched on, how important it is in their own in their own way. And I just wanted to emphasize before, really jumping into that is, how to utilize and making sure you're utilizing the resources on your campus, because each of your campuses, whether it's a junior college or CSU or UC, they're receiving mental health funds, state funds, to provide these type of services for you, and not just for like mental health directed in terms of like therapy, also health promotions. So I know Monica mentioned the CAPS. There's also health promotions as well. So they really promote the health of a student. So this is the holistic approach. So when you think of self-care, think of holistic approach. Think about nutrition, your diet, exercise, mental health, drinking water, sunshine, sunlight, socialization. It's a holistic approach. So it's all those things, not just, okay, I'm going to counseling and that's enough. Well, it's just consider, the holistic approach. So kind of see it as like a Lego set, right? and you have all these little pieces that put together a beautiful picture or a beautiful item. So self-care is really important to understand that it's holistic and it's more than just focusing on one part of it. And something else too, mental with self-care is just keeping in mind that self-care is sometimes things that aren't like the best for like pleasant. So it's not always bubble baths and enjoying yourself in meditation. Sometimes it's really self-care is challenging those negative thoughts, sitting in a quiet room by yourself and seeing and spending time with yourself and thinking. These are some of the self-care things as well. Disconnecting from social media and technology. So again, these are all the holistic parts you want to consider when you say, okay, what does my self-care routine look like?
Yeah, no, that's very good, Christian. I appreciate that feedback. Definitely want to make sure our young folks are, seeking out and exhausting all of the options and resources that are at their disposal. And also, when we talk about seeking help, let's go ahead and go on to our next slide because it kind of segues into what we're talking about. Mental health awareness clearly is crucial for recognizing and addressing mental health challenges. So, having our young folks be aware, having them, be, available to know that certain resources are available to them, it's certainly something that we want to make sure we're raising awareness of, as well as the fact that young people should be encouraged to seek help when needed and to engage in open conversations about their mental health. So when we talk about, the aspect of schools having these resources, yes, certainly make sure that, you're getting all of the opportunities that are available to you. And also school campaigns as well as peer-to-peer wellness activities are, available at most schools. And, they also can provide positive methods of awareness as well. So let's go ahead and go on to our next slide. So strength-based solutions. Now, strength-based solutions are valuable tools for young folks to enhance their own well-being. Focusing on strengths, talents, and abilities can boost self-confidence and resilience. Whether that's playing an instrument, making music, writing music, or whatever it is that, your creative outlets, are available to you. That's something that I think is certainly a valuable tool. I remember hearing some of the folks on the call talk about going on walks and just being out. I think these are all things that can certainly be a positive, healthy tool to help you build that positive mental momentum. So let's go ahead and go to our next slide. Now, evidently, we want to make sure that we're encouraging young folks to identify their strengths and not just identify them, but leverage them in pursuit of their goals so that they can foster a sense of empowerment and accomplishment. Research has shown that a strengths-based approach can lead to improved mental health outcomes and increased life satisfaction. So, I want to open it up to some of the young folks right now. I would say if you could just give me a strength that you currently possess, just one word, you don't have to go all into too much detail, but just a brief, strength that you currently possess, I'd love to hear it. And I'll start with you, Monica. What's one of your strengths?
I would say one of mine is starting to implement the power of yet into my life. I'm not sure if you guys have heard of it. I believe it's Carol Dweck that discusses it. So it's supposed to foster this growth mindset. So instead of saying oh, um, I can't run a mile in the recommended time, maybe you can say I can't run the mile yet, So just adding yet at the end of your sentence so that it fosters that hope and it doesn't just close down your goals right there. And I've been using that lately so that so to me, it's a strength now because back then I couldn't do that. I would just give up easily and be no, I can't do it. But now I'm just you know what? I'm not going to close myself out to it. I just know I can't do it yet.
I like that. I like that a lot. That's pretty good, Monica. Thanks a lot for that one. How about you, Joel?
For me, one word I would say is I'm very resourceful. For me, like, having the trauma of growing up in like a in the foster care system, I've always had to advocate for myself, or I've had to learn to advocate for myself. So now, I'm sending emails, I'm signing up to programs, I'm here doing podcasts with you guys, just spreading awareness of, how you're supposed to have mental health and how it's benefited me and how it will benefit you. So that's, one way I would say.
That's really good, Joel, man. That makes me proud because not only are you benefiting yourself, but you're also an example for other young folks who may be watching you that you may not even know that they're watching you, but they see you. Some young folks that are in the audience today that may have a similar experience as you, they might be like, well, man, if he can do it, I might be able to do it too, So that's awesome. Thanks for that, man. How about you, Keyshawn?
For me, I would say that I'm sensitive, and I used to think of that as a poor thing, um, but now I view it as a strength. As far as I know what's going on with myself, I know what my emotions are, and I can help myself process those better, and I could help um, tell others how I should be treated. So I would say, yeah, one of my strengths now is that I am sensitive and that I know what's going on with myself.
Hey man, that's very good. It's good to be in tune with all of the spectrum of the human experience, right? There's no bad thing about being human. And that's what we are. And we feel all the feelings. So I appreciate you for bringing that up. And that leads into a whole nother conversation about young boys and men of color and masculinity and a bunch of other stuff. And I'm sure me and Christian can talk to you guys about that all night long. But, I just want to say I thank you all just for your time, for your contributions. Thank you so much, Keyshawn. Thank you, Joel. Want to give a huge thank you to you too, Monica, just for you guys coming in and just always being able to give that positive mental momentum in these conversations that we've been having. I also want to give you a huge thank you to Mr. Christian Jacobs for always bringing the wisdom and the knowledge and that clinical analysis and perspective to our conversations. Thank you so much. And with that, I want to also thank our audience for joining Into the Classroom, which is a production of Mental Health California. Please be sure to visit us at mentalhealthca.org. And if you would like to access health and mental wellness topics for boys and men of color, please visit our signature initiative at brotherbewell.com. And also, while you're there, be sure to subscribe to our blog. Also, lastly, would like to give a huge thank you to our sponsor, Blue Shield of California's Blue Sky Initiative, which promotes access to mental health support. You can learn all about their program at bluesky.blueshieldca.com. With that, I'm your host, Coach Crump. Again, thank you so much. Until next time, take good care of yourselves.